Hey, and so could you tell me a little bit about your company, Ventir?
Yeah, sure. So Venture is a company that makes modular backpacks, and the idea was to combine, I guess, functionality that you find with outdoors bags to a really nice, aesthetic with, made for urban use. And the team consists of me, my co-founder, Alexander Mensa. He's an industrial design student at Carnegie Mellon. We also partnered with an industrial design firm called Lipsaw based in California, and we're making our samples with a factory based in Indonesia called Tasindo. Our most recent sample is made of reusable plastic bottle or recycled plastic bottle.
Mm-hmm.
So it's pretty cool how we're making a very functional bag,
Yeah.
but also made of some pretty cool and interesting material.
Yeah, and that was a pretty recent switch, right? Because you started off with different materials.
Yeah, we started off with different material.
So where did that idea come from?
Yeah, so being part of Social Impact 360 at Fordham, really gave me a lot of opportunity to learn how to do, how to try to make business, or how to look for businesses, or how to look for opportunities in business that can, also do good things.
Yeah.
So throughout the start, Alex and I were thinking of how could we make or how could we make products out of some sustainable material. And the idea came when Alex visited our partners in Indonesia, and we actually found out that they're actually testing this out, making plastic bottle into yarn, and then yarn into bags. They're testing it out, but they haven't.
That's so
yet.
cool.
Yeah, so we were like, yeah, let's sign up, let's do it. So we made one sample with it, and it's pretty cool. It's the functionalities are basically the same as like a traditional nylon bag.
Yeah.
If you use any other material.
Right. And then in terms of does it feel different, the backpack itself?
It doesn't feel different at all.
Really?
Yeah, and it has all, I guess, the form and function that you need.
Mm-hmm.
So it's all the benefit there. Plus, it's something pretty cool.
Yeah.
And it has a bit of an extra cost, but it's not, an insane amount of cost.
And are you absorbing that cost, or is that going to go on to the customer?
So that's going to go on to the customer, but we've sort of found ways where we can use different materials in other parts of the bag, or simplify the design of the bag even more, where we can, take costs out of some aspects of the bag, but increase costs, I guess, in using recycled plastic bottle.
Right.
So, sort of offset each other.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. What types of backpacks?
So I guess the general idea is it's a bag with 3 changeable modules.
Mm-hmm.
So if you think about a day bag, you can carry, I guess, your work or school materials in them, and then you can attach a module for the gym. So there's a gym bag, and it's like a zippered module that goes, or a zippered attachment system that goes around.
Okay.
So we have one module that you can add for the gym, and we have one travel module, which is pretty cool. It's designed kind of like a suitcase, but it's obviously not humongous. So it's you can carry, I think, enough clothes for 2 or 3 days.
Oh.
And within there, it has this, removable, what we'd say, compartment that's you can store all your dirty clothes and stuff in there.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, so you can separate everything out, and then we just made another module called a day pack module, where we can just it's just basically extra space.
Yeah.
So that's basically the entire concept of how to pack.
And they all attach to the main pack.
They all attach to the main pack.
Yeah. So what challenges is Ventir facing right now?
I guess the biggest challenge is that me and my co-founder Alex, I just graduated school a year ago. Alex is still in school.
Mm-hmm.
And the challenging thing is we're doing everything that we're doing for the first time. So obviously, in terms of design, we went through a ton of challenges in terms of, in the beginning we would make a deck or make some samples in house and then send them to Indonesia. And then, obviously there's a language barrier. There's a time difference barrier.
Yeah.
So in the beginning we had a ton of issues with the samples that we had. They just weren't making them the same way we wanted to do it. But that isn't a knock on the quality of sample making in terms of their end. Like they can
Right.
make super cool samples. It's just like, I guess the way we were explaining it
Yeah.
didn't really register to it. So that's like the biggest difficulty. Another difficulty is obviously funding.
Yeah.
We just have a very limited amount of money that we can play with. So like each sample costs money. So like you have to really drill down and make sure the sample is perfect.
Right.
And do things on our end that we can control in communicating what we want. And now like my co-founder Alex has been flying back and forth to Indonesia a couple of times. So that's obviously like another cost.
Yeah.
We have to like find out times in his schedule that'll work.
Right.
So it's just difficult balancing like what we do in like
Yeah.
our day-to-day stuff and trying to build this together.
So on average, how much do the samples cost?
So they don't cost a lot.
Yeah.
So I know for like each module of the bag, so the 3 modules plus the core bag, it's $250 each.
Okay.
So it's like $1,000 each. Plus like trying to get the materials that we need. Sometimes they don't have the materials in house.
Right.
So like that's an added cost.
Okay.
Plus like my co-founder Alex flying back and forth.
Yeah.
It's an added cost. Yeah, I think the thing that we found is like, his background's in design.
Yeah.
Obviously, like he should be there, and he's able to like think on the fly as like things that maybe we don't, that we thought originally we wanted to do, but being there in person and seeing the process, he wants to change stuff. So it's like pretty cool how like we have someone there able to think on the fly and do all the corrections even before the problems come out.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. I like that. How did you go about finding your co-founder?
So he's a best friend of one of my best friends.
Okay.
So like when I thought of the idea in college, I just started.
Which friend is this?
So he's friends with a friend from Florida called name's Iman. I don't think you know him.
Okay.
So like I was talking to Iman one time and I was like, hey, like thinking about starting like this idea. Do you know anyone who's background in design? And he's like, oh yeah, one of my best friends since high school who also grew up with me. Is in school at Carnegie Mellon studying industrial design. And I was like, oh, can you link us up and see if we can like hang out? And I think the first thing was like, are we compatible as like human beings hanging out? Like, would I be friends with this guy? And the answer was like, yeah, like he's a really nice guy, and obviously like he's good at design. So
yeah. Where do you find that balance, like being friends with the person, but then also knowing that you're running a business together?
Yeah, I think like the thing is like we sort of put I guess like priorities in our like friendship.
Yeah.
We're obviously like friends. We're pretty good friends, but like we're friends because we're trying to do something or trying to build something.
Yeah.
So obviously that takes advantage first. So which is cool because like he's not afraid to like tell me off if I have like an idea he doesn't like.
Yeah.
And I'm not afraid to tell him off if like I don't like his way of thinking. But at the end of the day, it's like kind of stuck with this person.
Yeah,
doing
exactly.
This thing.
And he's got the design side.
Exactly. So no matter like how mad he might make me one day, might as well still be friends with the guy.
Yeah. In terms of, I feel like one of the biggest challenges that face entrepreneurs is they have the idea, they know how they're going to solve this problem, but financing is a huge issue. How did you go about, pitching to people? How did you come up with that pitch? What is that like, seeking out investment? What does that look like?
Yeah. So I think the first amount of money that we got was from Social Impact 360. So freshman year and sophomore year, that gave us $5K to play around with. And the most important thing that we sort of wanted to do is like we wanted to use the money to make something, and sort of prove that we're serious with this. And like with the limited amount of resources that we have, just me and my co-founder, we can actually make something.
Yeah.
More so like if you invest and like you give us more money and we can find more resources, then we can make something better. So that was the first thing. It's like, putting your money into building whatever you want to build and showing that iteration to I guess potential investors, friends and family, or even just like going to a ton of like pitch competitions and like I guess like different showcases. And then just bringing what you have there and just showing what you can do. And obviously like showing what you can do now with what you have and then what your plan is if someone were to give you money.
Would you say that the makeup of your investments is like family and friends, is it venture capital, personal capital, like where's that money coming from?
So like I mean some of it is from like competitions and then I guess some of it is from like I would say like more wealthier friends who wanna like put their money into some adventurous stuff. So that's always the thing. It's like I found that like most of the people who are interested in this idea, I guess while I was in college and wanted to put in money, or like friends of my co-founder who come from a wealthy background who we chatted up at a party or gathered in a club meeting or something. And they were interested and they had money to play around with, so they wanted to put that money down. Also, like I guess like some family friends who found what I was doing pretty interesting. I think that's first. It's like people within your own personal network, and that's been very helpful so far. Just because obviously like they have expectations, and obviously like you have to deliver on those expectations. But also like with them knowing you personally, I guess they're like a bit more forgiving on messing up.
Do you think there's an added sense of like accountability though as well, considering that it is more like family and friends who invested in the company?
Yeah, definitely. I think so. I mean, even with I guess people more from my circle, like we've gotten some money from personal friends of my co-founder. It's like obviously like I don't want his relationship with that person to mess up. So obviously like we have to do well and we have to answer every question that they have. It's like we want to preserve that personal relationship with you.
That's cool. In terms of who kind of helped you the most when you're getting started, who would you say was your kind of biggest inspiration and helped you get to where Venture became, especially during freshman, sophomore year of college?
So I think my social impact 360 mentor, he was a senior when I was a freshman, and he I guess was the most influential one in getting things like started, kicked off. He was very very organized in terms of like breaking down big problems. Because I mean, if you think of like the first big problem that we had, it's like, cool, we have some money, we have an idea. How do you make our sketches and our models into an actual thing? It sounds simple, but it's there are a ton of steps in trying to get that done. And he was the type of person to break those steps down and identify what we needed to do and who to reach out. And I've sort of taken that way of thinking now, and something that's been very helpful. And he was, I guess, one of the most influential ones at the start. And then now it's, the industrial design firm that we partnered with, Whipsaw. One of the co-founders, Dan Harden, is, a really, really good mentor. He's able to help out a lot on the design end. As to like maybe Alex and I have a question, and he's always reachable for text or we can call him. He can always definitely get some great input, and maybe suggest things that we aren't even thinking about in terms of design. So,
how did you connect with the design firm?
There was a point where Alex and I were like, we can like make some like patched up samples of getting loose fabric and putting them together. But we really wanted some professional help, so I just made like a list of I guess like 15 or 20 industrial design firms, and just started cold calling, cold emailing them, and then Dan, co-founder of Whipsaw, picked up the phone, and we spoke the first time for 2 hours.
Oh wow!
Just talking about like the idea and what good design is. And they're based out in San Jose, and he said he's flying out to New York the week after for like an engagement or something, and then we met in person and we struck it off. And, we just linked up from there.
What do you think is the biggest challenge facing Venture right now, just in terms of like the industry as a whole? I know like there's other module backpacks that are out there.
Yeah, so it's like, you know, obviously like when I came about with the idea my freshman year, you know, modular bags were, you know, already a thing. There were like 5 or 6 companies doing it.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, when like you speak to someone who's trying to build something and they're like, for your competitors, and they say no one, and that's like not true.
Yeah.
There are always people doing this. So I guess like the most difficult thing moving forward is always going to be execution.
Yeah.
As the, you know, execution and design. Like I think in 2 weeks from now, my co-founder is flying out to Indonesia. So that's like, I guess, a big difficulty in terms of like, or a big challenge in terms of like getting everything prepped, getting our notes prepped of what we actually want to build, having all the materials that we need shipped to Indonesia, and actually, you know, on the week that he's there, like just working hard and like making the thing possible.
Yeah.
And I guess like after that, it's like, how are we going to sell this thing?
Yeah.
That's another huge issue, and that's another huge challenge.
Yeah.
So,
what are your thoughts for marketing and stuff for Venture? And you know, when is the launch?
Yeah. So I mean, we've been working at this for a very long time.
Yeah.
You know, hopefully we want to launch around, you know, next summer. But I guess like the idea right now in terms of marketing is that we really want to leverage, you know, our relationships that we have with people who've known that we're building this type of product for a very long time.
Yeah.
So, you know, we want to have pre-orders to these people, and sort of incentivize them to, like, I guess, tell their friends about it. You know, some word of mouth marketing is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Obviously, like, we have a budget to do social media marketing.
Yeah.
But yeah, we just want to reach out to our friends first, incentivize them in some sort of way that's related to the purchase of the bag, to telling their friends.
Yeah.
And you know, we're like the founder Alex and I are just very open about, you know, our story of building this, and we've told so many people about it. A ton of people know that we're doing this, and a ton of people know that we're almost done.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's not like we're launching the crickets.
Yeah. No. Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, that's so cool. In terms of like growth next, you know, 2 years and then beyond that, like what do you see for Venture?
That's like a really difficult question.
Yeah.
In terms of like, I guess like, you know, whatever I say, like moving forward has to be broken down into like smaller steps.
Yeah.
And the way like we always think is like, what's the next step? So like right now, all I'm focused on, all my co-founder is focused on is trying to go to Indonesia next week and build a sample.
Yeah.
So 2 years from now, I don't really know. Hopefully we'll still be working on this project.
Yeah.
And hopefully we're far away from where we are today.
Yeah. How do you manage working full time, because you do have a full time job, and doing all of this at the same time?
Yeah. So I mean, the thing is like, obviously like it's challenging, but I mean like what I've learned is like not all of the work is on me.
Yeah.
Not all of the work is on my co-founder Alex.
Yeah.
Not all of the work is on our design team. So it's like knowing the spots on when you have to be focused on something. So like most of the design phase, it's my co-founder Alex pulling the strings. Most of the phase of like trying to get money is on me. And most of the stuff of like, I just like finding partnerships with like the Indonesian firm that we're working with is on me as well. So it's just like, I just having clear boundaries of knowing what to do, when to do.
Right.
Is very helpful.
Yeah. Have you ever thought about quitting your day job to do Venture full time?
Yeah, I guess.
Would you like down the road do that? Like if Venture really took off?
Yeah, I guess my goal has always been to make that a problem.
Yeah, to make
like,
it a problem.
Yeah,
I like that.
I just wanted it to be a problem that I had to really think about.
Yeah.
I didn't know what the answer was going to be. But yeah, like just writing this now, that's what I want to do. Make it a problem where maybe it's not doable to do both.
Yeah.
So, that's the goal.
I like that. In terms of launch, are you just going to release online? Are you looking to partner with stores or?
Yeah, so like right now, the difficult thing about releasing a physical product is if you're working with a factory, they have minimum orders. And our goal is like not to have to hold these products. We want like everything pre-ordered so we can just ship it directly to people.
Yeah.
So obviously like we're gonna be focused on online.
Yeah.
And what I've sort of found in like talking to people who work at different at different stores is that they usually want tracking of sales because they are going to the stores.
Yeah.
So you have to do well first online and prove that we can sell the product ourselves.
Okay, cool. And then just in terms of being an entrepreneur generally, I think that that's something a lot of people in college think about doing. Then, just in terms of going the traditional route versus kind of being a disruptor, would you consider yourself a risk taker?
Actually, I've been thinking about that question a lot. I mean, obviously, like right now I'm balancing like a full-time job with working on a side project.
Yeah.
And when I was in college, I really thought that I was like a risk taker. But I guess like very calculated with risks.
Yeah.
Like I guess like this project like 100% I wouldn't be doing it if it wasn't worth it.
Right.
Because it takes a lot of time during the week.
Yeah.
Takes a lot of energy. And if there's no output to this energy and to this time, then it's not really worth it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I guess like being calculated and taking risks and knowing when to take them.
Yeah.
And I guess like sometimes like knowing when to throw caution to the wind and knowing when to listen to the voices in your head of like probably shouldn't do this.
Yeah. What's like an example of when you threw caution to the wind, just like went for it?
Went for it?
Yeah.
I just like there was a point in time where like we were out of like money, and we had to sort of dive deep into our own savings.
Yeah.
And when I say dive deep, I mean dive pretty deep.
Okay.
And it was like, is this even worth it? Should we do it? This is probably a stupid idea. And we were like asking a ton of people, should we do it or not? I guess like asking like friends and relatives, should we do it or not?
Yeah.
But I guess like at the end of the day, making a decision by yourself is really important.
Then kind of connected to being a risk taker, what personality or trait or quality do you think has made you most successful as an entrepreneur?
I guess like just like sometimes just like taking opportunities wherever they are, and just doing things for the hell of it, just because they're fun.
Yeah.
I mean, like with you knowing me, I'm sure like you can say like there are like some things that I do in my life that are pretty like just out there.
Yeah.
Like running marathons.
Yeah.
And like running like these unsanctioned races at night.
And almost getting hit by cars.
And almost getting hit by cars while running. And sometimes you just have to do something just because you enjoy it.
Yeah.
And I guess like there is a certain part of like venture that's related to that. That like this process is so cool. And it's like introducing me to so many people and gone on some pretty cool adventures.
What's the best piece of advice you've gotten during your time as an entrepreneur? From a mentor, from anybody?
Yeah, I think the thing is, it's like growing up, my parents would always like not want to give me advice as to like how I should do things.
Yeah.
They'd always tell me to like try to figure things out. So I guess like at the end of the day, it's like you have so many resources, especially at Freedom.
Yeah.
To like ask for advice for and ask for guidance for, but like I mean, you have to make the decision. You have to live with it.
Yeah.
So sometimes you just have to say screw it and do whatever you want.
And then just for people who are looking to maybe start their own businesses and stuff, what would your piece of advice to them be?
Definitely do it in college.
Yeah.
You have a lot of time.
Yeah.
And my social impact 360 mentor gave me this piece of advice. He was like, you could lose a ton of people's money working on this project while you're in college, but like you'll still wake up tomorrow needing to go to class.
Yeah.
It's not the end of the world.
Yeah.
So yeah, everything's gonna be fine. It's like you tend to like I guess think about this whole thing or this whole project so deeply, and obviously like you're so emotionally invested in it. But when you do it in college, you'll still go to whatever class you have to go to the end tomorrow. It's gonna be fine.
There were a lot of takeaways that I took after speaking with Enzo of Ventier Creates. One of the biggest things that I kind of took away was funding, and that's one of the things we spoke about in class. Was you might have the best idea in the world and a solution to a problem, but if you can't get the funding to execute upon that kind of inspiration and that idea, you're kind of out of luck. And what I really like that Enzo said about funding is that you know getting investments has to do a lot with what you currently have in terms of product and what makes that product unique, but then how you're going to take that funding that you're going to receive from the investors and improve upon what you have. So it really kind of reaffirms that iterative process of entrepreneurship, which we've touched upon in class. Another aspect of the interview with Enzo that I really kind of liked was defining your team and how you maybe need people on your team that are different from you. So in the case of Ventier, Alex is the design person, while Enzo is maybe more the business finance person. But then they also recognized when they needed to bring in, a partner in Whipsaw for more design. I think it's important that you identify positions such that you can delegate and assign responsibility as it falls under certain people's levels of expertise. And then when it comes to delegation, being able to communicate with your team is critical. In addition to some of the other things that we talked about in class, I thought it was really cool how Enzo defined himself as a calculated risk taker, which is something that we have touched upon quite heavily in class. How entrepreneurs aren't people who just take careless risks. They're people who are very much aware of what they're doing and measure the risk reward when they decide whether or not they're going to pursue a venture or not. So I really like how Enzo outlined that as one of his criteria. I really liked how we were talking about being full-time and an entrepreneur at the same time, and I really like how he outlined that the goal for him is reaching that point where it's not doable to do both anymore. And the goal is to make that a problem where, the idea is that Ventier does become full-time at some point. And then I think another critical point that Enzo made was you need to be open to advice from others because that's how you're going to progress forward. But you also need to know in the back of your mind what's important to you. You kind of need to have an idea of what you want to maybe hear from other people, and adopt that to what they say, but then also keep in mind what your mission is and what's important to you. And I think to wrap up, just have fun with it. This is important. This is something that you're passionate about. You need to be able to have fun with it. So I learned a lot from my interview with Enzo, and I'm really excited to see where Ventier goes in the future.